Okay, guys, it is time to start another vlog. Family Feud. Name something you'd hate to be sitting near in a restaurant. Y'all were to put your answers in the comments in the last vlog, so let's see. Number 1, 25 people said smokers. Number 2, 19 people said bathroom. Number 3, 19 people said kitchen. Number 4, 10 people said kids or babies. Kids or baby. Number 5, 9 people said dirty person. Okay, so we're going to turn over and ask our new question. Turn our card over. Family Feud. What's the best advice you ever got about money? All right, guys. Put your answers in the comments below. What's the best advice you ever got about money? Now, see, this triggers a memory for me, so that would be a good trigger. Memory trigger right there. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Alright, we'll see y'all in the next clip. Toots until then. Hello, everybody. I'm right here. Welcome back to Sassy Granny Vlogs. This is, what is today? This is Thursday, I think. Around 2 o'clock p.m. And I'm here to update y'all and show y'all on what I have got finished here. Plus another thing that I'm here for. But let's do this first. Alright. So, this is the page I had started scratching on. I think I showed that to y'all in the beginning when I had done a little bit. Well, I'm finished with it now. And that's what it looks like. So I have a couple of more in here to do. And then it'll be through. Well, other than these 2 pages up here. This one my Lena is working on. And this one my Gracie's working on. And so it's going to take forever for them to get those done. But there's that. I'm going to leave it sitting out here for y'all to look at. And then I painted all of my other little girls. Well, and one little boy. Okay, so here is this one. I went with a light blue dress. And the top of it is yellow. Okay, and her, I gave her skin color. Okay, her socks. I did a little weird with her socks. I let the top of them be painted yellow, or colored yellow. And like her foot that's inside her shoes, see that little part? It's a light blue. And then her shoes are black. Okay, I did her gloves the same way. Light blue and yellow. Light blue and yellow. And then for her hair, I did the same tan color that I used for the skin, but I made it darker. And then I took the yellow and I went over it. And then for the little headband princess crown she's wearing, I did like the front part here, blue, and the very tip little top yellow. So that's that one. Then on this one that is called Shy Vicky, whatever that little ticket thing is there, I colored it with the tan color like her body. So I did her body. So I gave her a purple dress trimmed in pink. So the collar, the sleeve ruffles, and the ruffle at the bottom. And I gave her, let me look, hang on. Yeah, her shoes are purple too. On here I couldn't tell. They looked black. But also there's a bow on them that I did pink. She's got a pink headband in her hair. Her hair is brown, light brown kind of. And her pink headband bow up here. And then I did the cloud where it says Sky Vicky. I did it blue. So that's that one. Alright. This girl, I gave black hair, a blue dress, blue shoes, blue flower with red berries in the middle, and then, her skin color, and then a different colored ball that she's got her arm propped up on. Alright. Then this one I gave a purple dress, pink shoes. She's holding a pink flower. She's got yellow hair, a black cat with a pink bow on it, and her skin color. And y'all may have already seen that one. I can't remember if I showed y'all the very first one I did or not. Y'all don't mind my dirty thing. I'm going to clean it up when I get through, but it's from scratching this. But I can get some wipes and do some real scrubbing when I get all that finished. Then here's a little boy. I gave him tried to do like red hair. So I did an orange first and went over it with yellow, trying to make it look like a fire red, you know. I gave him his skin color. I did his pants in blue and black, and his shirt in black, but he has like a vest on. So I did it. It's red. It may look pink on the camera, but it's red, and the ends of his sleeves are red. So that's that one. Okay. I'm going to leave these laying here just for y'all to look at, because I have my first story to tell y'all. So I've had one person to ask me a question. I've decided to call this Memory Triggered Stories. And Sandy Lee's 7049 asked me my first question. She says, this is how I wrote it down. How did me and hubby meet? She asked how me and my hubby met. So that's the story. Sorry, I didn't mean to bump y'all. That's the story I'm going to tell y'all today. Okay. And if anyone else would like to hear any stories of my past, my memories, just ask me a question or say something in a way that might help trigger a story in my mind to remember of my past that I can tell y'all. And I'm going to keep writing them down on my list so that I can tell them to y'all in order. So, I was 18 years old, and I was at home. We lived in a trailer, and Mama and Daddy was gone. Daddy was gone most of the time. His job kept him away from home, out of town a lot. Mama must have run to town, I think. And I babysat. So I was babysitting two little boys named Eddie and Charlie. They were brothers. And their mama would bring them to me at my house, and I would keep them there. She was a nurse in a nursing home. And so I was babysitting them. Hang on, I gotta yawn. Sorry about that. And so the phone rings. And back in those days, we didn't have cell phones, okay? So it was the landline. We had a phone on a desk in the living room. So I answered the phone, and it was kind of late in the evening. It was kind of close to time for Charlie and Eddie their mom to come get them. And when I answered the phone, it was my aunt. It was my crazy Aunt Irene, which is my mama's sister. Well, she's done passed away now. My aunt, not my mama. But she was my mama's older sister. And she knew, that I babysat the boys. And she probably had a feeling it was getting close to time for them to go home. Well, she asked me what I was doing, though, anyway. And so I told her that I was babysitting, but it was almost time for their mama to come get them. And she says, well, as soon as she comes and picks them up, I want you to get dressed in a cute little outfit. And right then, when she said that, I knew something was up. Because she never said that to me. But she was trying to make sure I was going to dress nice looking. And she said, brush your hair out, fix it nice, put some barrettes in it or whatever, And I thought, why? What's going on? I said that to her. And she said, well, I got somebody who wants you to meet. So just do that and come to my house. So I said, oh, Lord. So I did. As soon as the boy's mom come and got them, I had already was getting ready, and I was about ready to go then. So I did what you said. I didn't, put barrettes in my hair, which is not something I always did. And I mostly just let my hair hang down. But anyway, so, hang on, here comes another yawn. So I went to Aunt Irene's house. So I got there, and it was just Aunt Irene. But I went in, and so she told me that she had somebody she wanted me to meet, and her daughter-in-law, which, she married her son. Her son was Jimmy Dale. That was my cousin. His wife was Kathy. So she was my cousin now. They lived across the street from Aunt Irene. So Kathy was in on this. So she said, Kathy's going to be over here in a little bit. And I said, oh, Lord, what is going on? So in a bit, Kathy came over, and we was just sitting around and talking. And so what it was, Kathy told me, that her nephew, her sister's son, that lived in Louisiana, his name was Albert Earl Spillman. And she told me a little bit about him, which Kathy had girls that were close to my age, so they were my second cousins, but we spent the night with each other. We were real close. And they had told me a lot about their cousin that they would go stay with. And the way they described him back then, that was before this, the way they described him to me back then, it sounded to me like he was rich, and he didn't care how much money he spent. Yeah, right. And that he fixed up his mom and dad's house, and would build and add on to it and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, and he was a carpenter or a roofer back then. He roofed houses. So, Kathy said, I want you to meet him. And she said, right now he's went to town to do something, but he'll be here in a little bit. Well, we waited for a little while and he never did show up. So finally, Kathy said, well, I need to run to the store. Sherry, run me to the store. Let's go to the store and, get some things and come back. So I got in the car and I drove Kathy to the store. She got what she wanted and we came back home. Well, when we got back, well, not home, but to Aunt Irene's house. When we got back to Aunt Irene's house, he was there. So we walked in the door. Aunt Kathy first. I was behind her. He was sitting on the couch on the end that was right there by the door. So as soon as we walk in, she said, well, hey, look who's here. Like she didn't know he was coming. And so she introduced us, right then. So we come on in. Kathy goes to the kitchen, putting the stuff up. I sat down on the other end of the couch. And I just sat there, and he had been sitting there talking to Aunt Irene, and so I just sat down, and I've always been a quiet person, and I used to be, real shy, especially back then. So I wasn't a big talker, so I just sat there and listened to them talk, and I would, look at him, and I guess you could say I was checking him out. I was looking at him and all this kind of stuff, studying him and all that. Anyway, he just kept talking. So finally Aunt Irene said, Sherry, why don't you get up and go fix Albert a glass of tea? So I got up and went in the kitchen, and I got a glass and put ice in it and put some tea in it, and I brought it back to him, and then I sit back down. So he kept talking. Okay, now here comes the funny part. Me and him never really did look at each other or say anything to each other. I just walked in, Kathy introduced us, I sat down, and I just, looked at him and listened to him talk to Aunt Irene. And Kathy was busy in the kitchen. So now here comes the funny part. After a little bit, he said, well, I guess I better go. I need to go. He was going to head back home to Louisiana. He had a long drive. So he gets up and he goes to the door, and it's Aunt Irene's door. The main door was opened back against the wall, and she had like not a screen door like I do that just has a screen, but it was a storm door. And so he got there at the door, and he stood there for a little while and kept talking a little bit more. Then he'd say, well, I need to go. But then he would talk and talk and talk and talk, and he propped up, and put his hand on the door frame, and had his feet, how you'll prop up in the door and stand. So he was standing like that, and he'd talk and talk and talk, and in a little bit he'd say, well, I guess I need to go. And then he would talk and talk and talk and talk. And I kind of got tickled. I didn't laugh or say nothing, but I was thinking in my mind, yeah, you don't want to leave. And so finally, he did leave. He walked out and got in his truck and left. And probably me and Irene and Kathy giggled and laughed about how he just couldn't make himself leave because he liked what he saw. So that is my story, Sandy Lee's, of how me and my husband met. There's more, that goes out from that. That was just our first meeting, but So, alright, if anybody else wants to hear any more stories from my past, ask me questions. Say something that might trigger a memory in my mind for a story, and I will keep writing them down and make a list. I got lots of blank paper here to make if I can do it, to make a very long list. So y'all give me memory prompts or something, and I will start telling y'all my stories. Okay, if that's what y'all like and want to hear. Alright guys, we'll see y'all in the next clip. Toots until then. Okay, hello everyone. We're looking out my window here. It's a pretty sunshiny day. Don't mind the dirty window. This is Tuesday morning, and I have a question for y'all this morning for the end of this vlog. How can we refocus on God? So I'd love for all of y'all to think about that question. Maybe pray about it, study up on it, read in your Bible, and give me an answer in the comments below. How can we refocus on God? Alright guys, that brings us to the end of this vlog. So I will close it out and I will get started on our next vlog. So I will see y'all in the next vlog. Toodaloo!